Hey guys, it's S.LadyBug checking in with a YM Sip and Stitch. It's Sunday, and these are the days that are dedicated, at least throughout quarantine, to come together, have a few sips, stitch on what we've been making in Grandy Squares so we can make these beautiful beanies that are being sold as a way to support the nonprofit arm of YarnMovement, which is Believe in What You Dream. So welcome, welcome, welcome. And we're just going to keep along with the same theme as we were the last time. Same colors. We're going to stick with these colors. We're just going to switch it up a little bit. And so I'm actively making the squares now. So we have a little blue in the middle, some teal. Oh, kind of look the same, but I promise you they're not. It's blue and a little green. There's orange, there's pink. So let's keep it moving. So, this is kind of like a weird time. I can't believe we're already at the end of 2020. What came to me last year around this time, I had big major plans for 2020. And we're talking in 2019. We had just came off of the trip to East Africa, Tanzania, doing really, really, really great work with Believe in What You Dream, worked with over 3,000 girls. And I wanted to explain that number too when I say 3,000 and over 3,000. So I'm pretty much sure that, we actually encountered close to maybe 5,000 to 7,000 kids or more, actually. If we were to go based on how many kids were at each school, which was about anywhere from 1,200 to 2,000 at each school. We went to 10 schools. So if we times 10 times, let's just go with the bigger number, 2,000 times 10, that's 20,000 kids, and there's so many different opportunities available. It's just, mind blowing. Here I am. I decided to utilize crochet as a way to really ignite this creative expression that really leads to this discovery of like self-confidence, self-empowerment, self-care, just based on my own journey, just being in a space where I learned to spending time with my grandmother and her friends and understanding like what that means as a thief, and I think that's actively building a brand, we're actively building community, to understand what value you bring in and what kind of mark you can leave on the world. And so when I made the decision to even go about exploring this dream of like, empowering girls around the world, that's where the energy kind of started, in a space where I can bring my full self in a space and understand what has been helpful for myself. Because I can speak from my own personal journey best, right? So looking at a space where I can be helpful in that way is where everything really, really started. Sorry, I'm going to go live on Instagram as well while we're doing this. Just because we were just a few minutes early starting, I want to make sure my folks on social can get engaged as well. Because why not? Where am I going, right? I'm here every Sunday doing it live, okay? Literally. Let's see. Okay. Now we're going to go live. Hey, guys. So, yeah. So with Believe in What You Dream, like I mentioned, even just starting off, it just started from a really very, very, very genuine place of wanting to give a part of my journey and give back, to understand, that as impactful as money can be and is during the process, being present and, allowing ourselves to be in a space where we are building moments to really shape the future of the next generation of, leaders. And those leaders that I care most about just happen to be little girls because it's most reflective of my own story, right? And immediately it's I speak in the language of I a lot, just because I can speak just from a first person perspective. But my goal with these conversations is to understand how we together can share the power of creativity to empower the next generation of girls. So, it doesn't require you to be a crocheter or a knitter to do so. It just requires you to have the heart to really want to help. And if you do have that heart to help and the compassion to do so, this is a great program to, do that with, because you actively get to see not only your money in action, but also your compassion and your passion in action as well. And so, believe in what you dream is just that. It comes from a space of a feeling, an emotion of wanting and having the desire that's very deep to help someone else. And the individuals that we just happen to help are little girls who need it most, and so and we get to do it in a fun way because I don't know about you all, but I am a yarn lover. I love to stitch, which is why I'm here live every Sunday. If you look at my posts, I'm always stitching on something, but it's very much a part of my life. As important as it is to breathe, stitching is equally as important. So having the opportunity to connect two things that I love, which is spending time and engaging with people, but it also being able to provide an impact. Meanwhile, crocheting, it just all kind of works out. So if you are interested in getting involved in this work of Believe in What You Dream and joining efforts with a nonprofit, you can visit donate.yarnmovement.com and make a contribution. You can send an email to info@yarnmovement.com. You can send me a DM. You can say, hey, girl, let's do something. I'm like, okay, let's do it, Uh-oh. I'm going to have to use this orange here. So that's the kind of space it came out of. I wanted to make sure I at least said that because I think that sometimes people kind of get confused, I guess, of understanding like, if I'm working with someone and it's really it's just me and I'm looking for people to work with, take what you love, take your business. We can do a lot more than one or two people or the small coalition that I went with last year. Formulated this small crew that consisted of, Yarn Movement. We had camera crew. We had, the solar energy company and a few individuals who were just interested in going on along the ride and see how they could be helpful just to see for themselves. And just worked out really, really well. And we can continue to do this work. So I think I drove that home enough. So anyway, these crochet beanies are being created as a way to engage folks. If you purchase a beanie, 100% of the proceeds goes towards a kit. Inside the kits for these girls, they're going to receive the materials they're required to do. Now it's going to be a virtual workshop. Or even if it's not an actual workshop itself, depending on the time space, what we're in right now is we have to pivot around a lot of different things and a lot of factors go into doing this work because, there's not a level playing field across the board. I mean, let's just call it what it is, right? Or we're in a space where some communities where the girls that we're working with, they don't have power as a natural everyday resource. It's kind of like a luxury that's not there. And so at a time like this, having a workshop, virtually may not be an actual opportunity, but inside these kits, they're receiving a solar energy lamp that they can use daily, not only for the creations of what we want them to do is promote, creativity throughout their lives, but they can also make sure they can study, take them immediately out of the dark. Also, receive personal hygiene products, which are both important to just a daily process and making sure your self-confidence is at an all-time high. I think we, as women, I should say, can all relate to those times where, you didn't have proper products, sanitary products, to meet a need at one point, and it was a scary moment. Well, imagine that scary moment being a daily reality when you're on. And that's the goal of what we're looking to address, because as exciting as it may be to sit back and have beautiful colors and create, masterpieces of art, whether it be, a visual art or wearable art within fashion, there's nothing like having the confidence at the highest level of that uninterrupted. And so that's what we're looking to do. So the beanies that are being created are really as a way to signify the level of love that normally just goes into the thought of granny. Like, so you think of granny and stitch. Naturally, many of us who have crochet blankets or knit blankets, you know, most of us have a great relationship with a memory that came from someone older generation, childhood memory of someone making something for you, and all of those memories that went along with it, because it became your favorite blanket, or whenever you went to sleep, it was just always there. So same thing is true. It's like a daily reminder of someone cared that much to spend that kind of time to create something handmade for you. So that's where the concept really comes from. And it's not, it's not deep. It just is what it is. It's just like, okay, granny comfort, you're interested in comforting, the next generation of girls and make them feel like they're loved. Complete strangers coming to you, like in the ruralest areas of the world, just to say, hey, I was thinking about you. Maybe it's not something that's appreciated right away, but what it would be is an inspiring moment to always cherish for life. And I think that's the point. You know, there's that great quote that always says, you may not always remember what people say to you or what they did to you, but you will always remember how they made you feel. And how special would you feel, knowing that someone traveled so far to stand in front of you and give you a huge smile and show you something creative to do with your life, you know? So that's what we're doing with Believe in What You Dream. And I believe that um, that's the part that is making the dream a reality when you take the first step of believing. And I was watching last night Jingle Jangle on Netflix, and first of all, Debbie Allen, you can choreograph, you can like be a choreograph anything. We all know this. I mean, from the Emmys to Grammys and all the things that you do, but it's just always her touch, right? But anyway, one of the plots of the story is that, the magic doesn't work until you believe. And I just said when I come on today that I was going to share that, if you haven't watched it already, it's on Netflix, get you in the holiday spirit. Also, it's a concept of believing, and it's a good story to have, a great reminder to understand that you can have all these thoughts in the world and all these dreams. And if you don't sit back and believe them, you're really, really wasting your time almost. And we we understand how valuable time is. If we didn't know before, 2020 has been a great example of the levels to life and time, how you must value it, because, literally we're not promised tomorrow. We're not promised the next few hours, probably, to even not even for ourselves, but maybe, spending time with people, or, having that opportunity. I mean, again, I go back to the statement I was making before, like you couldn't tell me into 2019 that 2020 was going to be like this for never, you know, like so many levels. I mean, beyond COVID. I mean, I'm here in the Bay Area, and even the amount of fires that we had this year, and even the weather, like, I don't know if you guys can tell, but it's bright, sunny outside. I think it has rained. Honestly, I was excited on a live maybe like a week and a half ago or something, where I was so hyped it was raining. And my phone was upstairs, so I ran upstairs to go get my phone because I was just going to take a photo of the rain, you know, hitting the deck off the balcony, and it was it was over by the time I came back downstairs. Crazy. But, again, it's just like, there's always a lesson in every moment. And for me, it's just like, take advantage of the time that you have while you're here, take advantage of the time while you have it, and do something productive, do something that's going to do something, to really touch someone's life. And having these sip and stitches have been it for me. I don't feel like it's the traditional sense of it, because prior to this year, these were definitely in person, centered around a table, having, sips together and really sharing and exchanging time and stories and energy. And, for a person like myself, having that time with people to engage is like, that's it. I love people. I love, chatting it up and communicating. So this time inside, it has been a challenge, but, I know where my value stands. And so I just get to sit in the house and create and master every app that I can. Yeah, and have a bunch of FaceTime calls. I see my girl Kim on here. We talk all the time. So shout out to Bold Creations, and many others that we kind of chatted up, but Kim and I like talk all the time. About life, about our gardening, you know, talking about greens and okra. But that's what it's about. The greatest, engagement leads to the best friendships that, really last forever. So, and the stitches keep it going, like this beanie that I'm making here, if you're on the live, you came in early, came in, as a replay, whatever it may be, you saw it. If you end up being the one who purchased it or someone purchased it and I post a picture up, we all can exchange in the story because you were present to see the squares being made, then also you got to see it being worn by whoever ends up purchasing it. And so it's just a great cycle of great energy that is really interwoven into the stitches. Yep. So also, I guess while I have you all here, I want to make sure that I plug a few things, right? So on Black Friday, I start pre-selling the Stitch on the Go kit, or Stitch Everywhere You Go kit, right? And the goal with it is to make sure, like, for me, coming up with the idea of the name for the brand, YarnMovement, has to do with constantly being in movement. And my goal is to make sure that while you're in movement, that you can be safe, but stylish at the same time. Um, I know that it's built into the culture of, artisans that, we must take our project with us. And it doesn't always have to be the project that someone ordered, but it's just a matter of like this ability to keep our hands in movement. And so the Stitch on a Go kit is offering people the opportunity to do that in a stylish way, like I said. And so currently releasing the smaller version of the bag. This is actually another bag that I'm going to show you guys. But essentially, so for me, myself, whenever I'm going out, like say, for instance, I'm going out for drinks with my girls, which it's not happening right now, but we can do it virtually. My goal is to have a space or a bag that I can carry everything that I want, right? And so this bag here already has stuff in it, right? So it has a pair of scissors, because these are my favorite scissors, the cream scissors. And it has a hook. And it's just big enough to put yarn inside, right? So This is a DIY yarn from Lion Brand. So this yarn here is really designed for when you have small projects or you're just trying to finish up something. And for me, if I'm going out for drinks, I always want to take a photo. And so if I'm taking a photo, I want to make sure that I have a coaster. And so I create a granny square. So it becomes a granny square coaster. Although for this purpose, I'm making a beanie with it, but this becomes a coaster. Place my drink on it, snap a picture, and I still have an opportunity to engage with my girlfriends. I don't have to bring out my big bag because it's always like full of a lot of yarn. It's overbearing. And sometimes it kind of takes away from the vibe of just like trying to chill out and chill with your girls. And so this is much more calm. I also have normally have a needle here, so I'm going to put a needle inside, and there's going to be just enough yarn where 2 or 3 of these can fit in and close it up, and it's still big enough for my phone to fit in, right? And this becomes the bag, but everything I need is here. And if I wanted to bring a bigger bag, I could throw this inside there. But what's cool about this too is that the bigger bag challenge is that you're always like digging, right? Always digging for something. It's the hook and it's the needle, like, oh, where's the tapestry needle? Oh my God, I could have sworn I put it in there. But now you have it in all in one place. And so then you just have to be in the habit of keeping it there. So I will be selling these, but also attaching them to my educational courses that are coming for patterns I'm going to be teaching. I've been getting a lot of questions about just some of the other granny square projects that I have. And so I'm going to be, releasing those projects along with Everyone Loves Confetti cardies. So I'll be doing those as well. And we get to have fun. So this is a smaller version. There's a larger version of this. And then there's the circular version where you can just kind of like pile yarn in. And when you're done, you can flatten it out and put it away. So Seiji is the nickname because it's stitch everywhere you go for the smaller version. Okay. So look out for those. If you are in social right now, you can visit YarnMovement.com, go to the shop, and you can place your pre-orders now. I'll be sending those out within the next couple of weeks. I'm just waiting for a few more goodies to go inside, along with some custom-made granny square mask. One of the things that, since we've been in COVID, a million people have come and like, oh, are you going to make masks? And no is my response. Not making them out of yarn for a very, particular reason. And that reason is safety. I don't want the blemish of someone getting hurt, getting sick, or falling into some kind of space that is negative due to a bad decision that I made to make something as an offering, just to make it, money. That doesn't fit into who I am, the core of who I am. So I figured out a more cleaner, safer way to do it, along with still being something that's stitched by hand. So literally, my stitches are being imprinted onto mask, and I'm going to sell them that way. So that's in the kit as well. Many of you know that my background is in science, and I'm an investigative research scientist. So at one point in my career, in the beginning, I worked at a lower level version of it, but I worked as a scientist under Dr. Fauci's team for NIH. And it doesn't sit well with me, again, to understand that I would put any of my clients and my followers and my community in harm's way just to be trendy. So I'm doing the more safe version of the mask inside these bags, along with hand sanitizer, and there's hooks, there's scissors, there's everything that you need inside of this kit. So literally you can go stitch everywhere you go in a healthy, safe, and stylish way. So if you're interested in purchasing one, support Yarn Movement and go to www.yarnmovement.com and go to the shop and you'll see them there. So Seiji, everyone. Stitch everywhere you go, literally, because that is the theme. Secondarily, while we're here and organizing every Sunday, the point is for Believe in What You Dream. So I have exciting news. I am partnering with a nonprofit that's based in Michigan called Grit, Glam, and Guts. And we're going to be doing a virtual series. It's a monthly virtual series and kicking it off January. So currently we have about 130 girls that I will be teaching to crochet virtually. And each month we're going to continue to meet up and do new projects every time. And again, the goal is to do the same program that I kind of outlined to you all in previous times for Believe in What You Dream. And Believe in What You Dream is a 3-part program where first we start off by creating dream catchers, because we must visualize our dreams, right? We can have them as thoughts here, but we must connect them to our fingers by something that we can create and constantly visualize as a reminder every day. Secondarily is journaling our journey. So literally writing down what you want to do, how you're going to do it, and then what was your process, right? Because it's one thing of like having an idea what you want to do, but it's another thing to take steps. And then the last part is another thing to understand which steps work and what didn't. So we're going to do that for journaling journey. And then the last part is the crochet lesson. That's really the fun part for me, but and I just want to shout out Shanny P's Corner, because we did buttons from her. Each girl, I thought it was just really cool that each girl should get a button inside of their bag. So I picked the ones that make sense for, the use. So there's the Queen of Hearts. So purple heart. Then there's a black heart. Then there's a shish kebab. So it's really cute. Oh, sorry, let me go here too. So it's really cute. So this is shish kebab, but it's made out of yarn. And then there's like a crochet hook in the middle and a knitting, the knitting needles on each side. So that's cool. Then there's a Ferris wheel, that in each one of the Ferris wheels, there's a yarn ball. Oh, can you see that? There we go. There's a yarn ball. Isn't that cute? And then what else? Oh, and then there's another one, the s'mores. So the s'mores, there's graham crackers, and then there's merino s'more in there. And so the girls are all high school age. And so this is a way to imprint positive thoughts with yarn into their psyche. And just as a additive, I will be also kicking off what will be the virtual versions of the Sip and Stitch, where I'll be meeting up with folks virtually through Zoom. And I have kits prepared where you're going to get tea. We have some really cool tea companies that have thrown in some tea bags that are like, Trinkle, such as Nori teas, and there's some tea from Shaka Tea, and let's see whoever else is going to throw in, but those are the 2 for right now. And then also a few wine companies, because as you guys know, your girl loves some wine. And so we also have Sip and Stitch pins. So when you sign up, you'll get your tea and you'll get, yarn if you want it. Well, you'll get the kit, the one I was just talking about, along with this kind of pin in there. And this pin is just Sip and Stitch. And so it's a wine glass with yarn in it. Isn't that cute? So those will happen at the end of every month. So let's, do some sipping and stitching together, because I don't know about you guys, but I mean, as fun as it is for me to come on YouTube and just talk my face off, I don't mind doing that, but I would love to see your faces and engage and see what kind of projects you guys are working on as well. And then I have a few more buttons. I'm just gonna just show all these pins, not buttons, but pins. So Chanel is so dope, y'all. If y'all don't even know, like, I'll make sure I'll tag her in the you know, comments below so you can find. But she's doing something really cool for women who are creatives. She's doing, oh, you can't even see it. Let's see. Dope Women Creates. Can you see it? Oh yeah, there we go. Dope Women Creates. This is another pin. And so this one here is, she's doing this one because a lot of creators during this time have faced the challenge of like really like employment problems and, you know, not quite reaching all of their goals. And so she's highlighting dope women creating. And so I have a pin so I can be enduring because I'm a dope woman who creates, just in case nobody knows. And then last year, I got this beautiful note for supporting, and you know, I wanted all 130 girls to receive pins, and so you know, she was like, "Oh, let's touch my heart," and I was like, "You're so dope." And I have a Queen of Yarn pin as well, and a handwritten note. Thank you, girl. Uh-oh. Yep. So that's the tea. So 2 things that you guys can do today is visit donate.yarnmovement.com to make a contribution for future projects and programming with Believe in What You Dream. When you have donations come through, we can partner with, you know, incredible independent, you know, small businesses like Shanny P's Corner, and, you know, make the collaboration happen very well. Along with the fact we can go through and continue to do the social disparities work by providing solar energy lamps and personal hygiene products for the girls who are part of the program. And you can go to www.yarnmovement.com and get yourself a stitch everywhere you go. Say G, stitch everywhere you go, kid. And yeah, you can be cool and look safe at the same time. Yep, 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 yep. Hopefully I can, let's see, I got 30 minutes. Let's see what happens. Hopefully I can get all the squares at least complete. And then I can do a follow-up video. Just show me putting them together real quick, speed it up. But, oh, and listen, Unique just popped in. So I'm going to tell you guys to go follow her as well. So that's UNI apostrophe Q. If you guys looked at the story that I posted today, there's a video, and the lyrics are all pretty girls like the crochet. Go follow your girl, okay? Because, you know, she gets it because she's a crocheter. So, yeah, go follow her. Okay, y'all? And you know, I was gonna share too, something exciting happened. One of the wineries that's here in the Bay Area, it's called Washera Wines. They're in the process of opening, where they're building out their tasting room and lounge. And they inquired my background, and they're like, "What is that? Can you do one of those for us?" I'm like, "Of course." I create these for photographers normally, but it's definitely like a standing piece of art on its own. So um, I will probably share the process of me actively creating that, um, because it's going to be a pretty large scale version of it. Like nothing outrageous, like 30 feet by 30 feet, but big enough because it's still hand done. So you guys watch out for that as well, because it's so exciting. So Let's see. Okay, yeah. And so also, if you guys are interested in doing a live with me for a specific reason. So essentially, I am looking to highlight other artisans, crocheters, stitchers, knitters, whomever, right? And my goal is to discuss your favorite projects that you're working on right now. Um, I know for myself, people are like, "Oh, what goodies do you have at home?" And I'm like, there is always a lot of things that are like in the background. Like I have a huge rack here of like clothing that I've worked on that I'll be sending out hopefully tomorrow. If you order something from me and you're expecting your package, maybe I'll send it out tomorrow. But yeah, so I have some really cool projects that I'm working on. And a lot of things that just come out of here. It's like, not patterns. It's just patterned out of, me looking at a feed, looking at photos and making, creations for specific people. And I was just curious to see if other people kind of do like the same thing. So if you're interested in being highlighted, I mean, I have a list of like probably like 50 people that I'm just going to hit up anyway. So watch out in your DMs because I'm coming at you and don't tell me no. I mean, you can if you want, but please don't tell me no. Help me, please. Make this happen. But yeah, I really want to just show and highlight things just because, we're all like creating stuff. We don't always get our opportunity to shine. We don't always get our opportunity to really speak our truth about things that we're working on. I know that for like Cosmic Crochet, she has like a lot of posts that she's posting up. Like she has a granny square shrug that she created, but she posted the story of like how that granny shrug came about, and it's so good. It's one thing to see something like, because it's incredible and how it looks online, or once you're done, it's just like, oh, if you understand the process and understand how long certain things take, granny squares are tedious. I love them. So, I don't mind spending the time to do a work. But I mean, as you can see in other videos while I'm doing my Unity stage, I get through projects pretty quick with that stage. Um, and so literally, if I'm making a granny square blanket for you, like for instance, my grandmother has a queen size granny square blanket on her bed. And I can't say that I'm interested in just making those. It's it's real time, it's a real investment of emotion, because after square 20, you're like, how many more do I have to do? And sometimes those blankets call for like 200 squares before you can get one complete. And so the goal is to, when you do create one for someone and gifting it, like that person needs to understand how much time really went into it and what you were kind of going through in that moment, when you're creating it, because that's important. And I really strongly believe in vibrating very high and giving good energy to things that are being created, because I mean, you can literally stitch negativity into your stitches, like, whatever you're making. And that's why I think it's going to be good to highlight stories of like why people do what they do and what kind of things are kind of like your favorite things to make and why, you know? I just saw Kristen pop in. I know with Kristen, whenever I talk to her, her whole thing is just she just want to turn heads. And when I was, kind of listening to her story when she first started like making earrings, for instance, she was just looking for a way to have a color pop in her outfit, because her uniform for work or just dressing for work was kind of boring. And look what that has turned in for her. Like, she's doing these beautiful kits now, where there's a hat, there's a scarf, there's earrings to match. I think that some of the hats have like patches on them that give you just, moments of confidence, right? You have like my girl Kim that we were just talking about earlier. Like I have her earrings here because I wear them all the time. So she made these earrings for me, and she was inspired by the background, and maybe because I wear red all the time too. But these are like perfect, right? They stand out. They give you a moment, and people are gonna ask, right? So same thing, and I think that it's important and interesting for me to hear the stories behind the art, like what made you do that? And sometimes it's not even like, like this over dramatic, dramatized moment of like, okay, when I was planning this, it's just like something that came natural and it just turned out so dope that people thought you put in this extra, thought energy into it. And it's just like, no, I produced dope and that's what just happened. Yeah. And, it's just, I am a fan of art. I'm a fan of artisans. And, that's what it is for me is to connect and continue to connect and not just once, but, understand how we like fit into each other's like interwoven tapestries of life. That's what the movement is for me. It's yarn. We all kind of can connect around it, but it's about this built-in understanding of how you're like um, integrating value into the things that you're hand making. So therefore, when people come and want to purchase, they should know not to just ask for a discount right away. It's handmade. You're putting your real good time into it, real good energy. If you're going out your way to go source yarn and you're doing these extra pieces, you're creating and curating an experience for people to come to. And this is something that people more and more now can really, that is one of the values that this pandemic has offered during this time is that people understand time now, I think, more so than any. We are in this space where everything is at a click of a button. I mean, I definitely value like services like Instacart at a time like this because I can place the order like now it's 4:42 and I can have groceries, everything I need before 7 o'clock tonight. What? I don't think I'm ever going to the store again to shop. Like why? When I can pick, things that I want. I don't have to be a part of the process on, certain foods. So, but if people are therefore going to take time to, create something for you, you should be willing to pay for their time. Just saying. Oh, you know what? This is the first time I didn't start off by making a yarn ball because I had them done already. I'm slipping. I was call myself trying to be over prepared by at least having the squares like somewhat done. And I should have turned on the camera, but I didn't. But making yarn balls is definitely a part of my process of getting on the right vibe. Oh, so yeah, because we're on this holiday break, even though I really didn't take a break, but I took a break from devices and answering emails and doing that a little bit. And so I started binge watching Lovecraft last night. And, people keep on telling me, like, oh, you will love the show. And I do love the show because I'm a history buff and I love, mystery. But the fashion, okay. Journey was out there showing these cute outfits and these colorways. That was crazy. Okay. Very inspiring. Certain parts are like, maybe I shouldn't watch this at night because I don't want this to be, in my thoughts when I go to sleep. Not that I have nightmares and nothing like that, but the strangest things pop up in my dreams. Forces me to, create some different colors that, probably people won't normally pick, you know, but yeah, so I watched 5 episodes of Lovecraft County last night, and I watched the Django. Yeah, Jingle Jangle first, not the Django, Jingle Jangle, Jingle Jangle first. Which I probably should have watched those opposite, but both were really good. So I'm probably gonna finish up some episodes later after before I start preparing for this week. So I'm excited. I don't know if you guys have watched, but you should tune in and see what's up. Yeah, but I definitely got some ideas on some shapes. And there's just something special about clothing that's from like the 60s and 70s on the patterns that I really love. Kind of like textures and some of the things that were put together much different than like clothing now, but it's something that comes across very well in crochet. Congratulations, Ladybug, you have 2 squares finally complete. Whoop, whoop. Let's take a sip. I always do this. Cheers, guys. Take a cheers. I'm going to tune out after I do this square because I have talked you guys' head off today. But I had a lot to talk about. For real. But as I mentioned, there's 2 things that can happen after this. Is that as far as you all helping and collaborating in efforts to help this next generation of girls. Remember, we're going to be working with girls in Michigan next. I have a group in South Africa and another group in Haiti. Just figuring out the best way logistically to get things to each of those countries. So I'll be sure to provide updates when those come about. But Believe in What You Dream. So if you're interested in making contribution for Believe in What You Dream, you want to go to YarnMovement.com and you can see photos and hear the story there and see what's in each of the kits. You're essentially donating a kit per girl. You can do a cluster. That just means it's a cluster of 5. Or whatever, it's in your budget to kind of do. It's all welcome. It's also all a tax deductible. So, we are hitting to that end of the year mark for tax deduction. So it's perfect timing. Then the other one is the Stitch Everywhere You Go kit. Again, that is coming with a mask and a hook, yarn, and some special goodies that I didn't mention. And also you can sign up for the virtual sip and stitch, all of which I will be promoting over the course of the next couple of weeks. The sip and stitch is going to be at the end of December, so you have a little bit of time. And it'll be perfect because it'll be right around the time for the new year. So without further ado, I am the pilot S.LadyBug of YarnMovement, and I am signing out and encouraging you all to remember to embrace your dopeness.